Hey guys, I'm back to do another character review. Like I mentioned in my last video, this time my friend and I are reviewing, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty and the Gargoyles, Hugo, Victor, and Laverne from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He did his, Maleficent review yesterday, I did my Maleficent review the day before that. And he did his Gargoyle review the day before that, and I'm here today to do my review of the Gargoyles. Anyway, one thing that I have noticed about them is that they seem to get, an awful lot of hate compared to a lot of Disney sidekicks. And, while I understand that nobody's going to like every single character, I do find it kind of odd how much hate these characters get. Anyway, the complaints are they're overplayed, annoying, not funny, they ruined the tone of an otherwise serious plot, they should have been imaginary, they're stupid, they are constantly judging people by their looks despite the message of the movie saying you shouldn't. They're unnecessary, and they joke about the fact that Paris is on fire. Okay, starting with the whole they're overplayed. How? I mean, like my friend said, they only have about 10-12 minutes tops of screen time. So to me, that's not really overplaying a character. I mean, and it's not like they come in during serious parts of the movie and ruin the tone of it, which I will get more into in later complaints, because these do kind of overlap. It's not like they come in during a death scene or something and start telling jokes or something like that. They're mainly there to give some comic relief and be something that the kids will enjoy. And something that you should know is that most Disney comedic relief sidekicks, like the Gargoyles, Timon and Pumbaa, Sebastian and Flounder, are mainly there to be something that the kids will enjoy, and something that that Disney can make merchandise off of. So the only area that I would say that the Gargoyles are overplayed in is the merchandise and advertising. But that's the case with most Disney sidekicks. I mean, you see a ton of merchandise of most Disney sidekicks. Not just with the Gargoyles, but with most Disney sidekicks. So I wouldn't say that they're overplayed in the merchandise any more than any other Disney sidekick is. I mean, look at, like, Timon and Pumbaa. Look at how much more merchandise is made of them than of the main characters from The Lion King. But So yeah, they're maybe overplayed a bit in the merchandise, but not in the movie. I mean, when I think of a sidekick character that's... When I think of sidekick characters that are overplayed, I think of, like, the mice from Cinderella. And don't get me wrong, Disney did have a reason for doing that, since it was much harder for them to animate realistic people back then. But today it does kind of date the movie and look like it's detracting, and look like, and it makes it look like the plot's off focus a bit, since so much of the movie is taken up by the cat and mouse chase and comedy scenes. And you really don't see any of that with the Gargoyles. Anyway, moving on. They're annoying. Annoying is very subjective and very much in the eye of the beholder. I can see why people would find them annoying, especially Hugo. He definitely does have his annoying moments. Not enough to get me to dislike him. But I don't really see why people would find, like, Victor and Laverne annoying, but to each their own. But, I mean, there are several characters that I find annoying that most people love. Like, Flynn Rider, from Tangled. I mean, whenever I hear him spewing his modern slang, and, putting on his smolder to impress the ladies, I just wanna slug him. To me, that's much more annoying than, funny or charming or anything. But, he definitely has his share of fans that find him charming and funny and whatever. So, to each their own. If you find them annoying, it has more to do with your personal taste. So I'm not gonna get too deep into that. They're not funny. Much like annoying, funny is very much in the eye of the beholder. I mean, my friend claims that he doesn't find the show Phineas and Ferb to be funny at all, and that he finds most of the characters to be either boring or annoying in it, but I find it to be really funny. I got you back, Chris. So, much like annoying, funny is in the eye of the beholder, and it depends very much on your personal taste. And if you don't find them funny, then that's your opinion. I personally do find them funny. So I won't get too deep into that. But, yeah, there are a lot of Disney sidekicks that I find much more annoying and much less funny than than the Gargoyles. Like, Maximus from Tangled, and, Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King. Not so much in the first movie, but especially on into the sequels. They're starting to grow on me a little bit, but, especially like in The Lion King 1.5. and the mice from Cinderella. To me, they're much less funny and much more annoying than the Gargoyles, but to each their own. They ruined the tone of an otherwise serious plot. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't Sorry, my nose was itching. I don't really see that they ruined the tone of it. I mean, they came in occasionally to offer some comic relief for the kids. But, again, it's not like they came in during a, death scene and started telling jokes or something. I mean, yeah, they may not have fit perfectly in the movie, but a lot of... There are other Disney sidekicks that don't. I mean, as much as I like him as a character, I always thought that Olaf felt a little out of place in Frozen. Since he was kind of put in at the last minute. I do think that he's a good, cute, funny character in his own right, but he always felt a little out of place in certain situations to me. And like, they put him in some kind of, serious and, in some kind of, serious scenes where he didn't need to be. So, to me, the Gargoyles don't really ruin the tone of the movie. They may be a bit lighthearted, compared to the rest of the tone of the movie, but think about it, the movie would be dang depressing if they weren't in there. Moving on. They should have been imaginary. Why? To each their own. I mean, if you think they should have been imaginary, that's your business. I mean, personally, I like them better as real as real sidekicks. Just because, like my friend mentioned, it shows that Quasimodo wasn't raised by, wasn't raised just by Frollo, and that he had some kind characters that raised him, and it shows why he turned out the way he did. But, I mean, even if you do personally think they should have been imaginary and would have preferred them that way, that's really not a legitimate reason to hate them. I mean, that's pretty nitpicky. Personally, I think that they're a bit better as real life characters. Because it does explain Quasimodo's backstory, and unlike with Tangled, which is another reason why I'm not too crazy about the movie, since we have no idea how Rapunzel ended up being as sweet and charming as she is, since she was raised by Gothel and a lizard. But we're not here to talk about that. Personally, I think that they're better as real life characters, since it does show how Quasimodo ended up being the kind person he is today, and well, in my opinion, it adds more depth to them than if they were imaginary. And makes them a lot more necessary, which I will get into in a later complaint. But to each their own. If you think that they should have been imaginary, that's your business, but, I still don't see it as a legitimate reason to completely hate their characters. They're stupid. Arguably, Hugo is. As Laverne puts it, he's the fat, stupid one with the big mouth. Yeah, he's definitely arguably stupid. I'm not gonna argue about that. But, I don't really see, I don't really see Victor and Laverne as being stupid. I mean, Laverne is shown to be very wise, since she's always giving Quasimodo advice, like, Quasi, take it from an old spectator. Life's not a spectator sport. If watching is all you're going to do, then you're gonna watch your life go by without it. And, Victor is definitely very, intelligent. He's always, quoting things from literature. And that sort of thing. So the two of them are definitely not stupid. Like I said, Hugo arguably is, but, lumping it together and saying, and just saying that they're all stupid, it, isn't really a legitimate complaint about all of them. And, also, disliking a character solely because they're stupid is kind of weak. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't some annoying stupid characters, like, some of the characters in Austin and Ally, and that sort of thing, but, there are also some, there are also some, entertaining stupid characters, like, Dory from Finding Nemo, Dopey from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, Goofy from the Mickey Mouse and Friends franchise. So, disliking a character solely because he or she is stupid is pretty weak. And again, just labeling them all stupid is, pretty weak. I mean, they're not like, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, who all have the same personalities. Or, Daisy's nieces, April, May, and June, who pretty much all have the same personalities. And no, I'm not talking about the Quack Pack version of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which are even worse than the DuckTales version. So this, while it is a legitimate complaint about Hugo, it's definitely not a legitimate complaint about Victor and Laverne. And, and even so, disliking a character solely because they're stupid is kind of weak. Anyway, moving on. Sorry I keep repeating myself. They're constantly judging their character by their looks, despite the message in the movie is saying you shouldn't. Where? Where do they do that? I mean, yeah, they do mention looks. Like, they refer to Esmeralda as a vision of loveliness. But that's not really judging her by her looks. And in the song A Guy Like You, when they're talking about the other guys, they say they all look the same from every boring point of view. But again, that's not really That's not really judging someone by their looks. I think that it was more trying to make Quasimodo feel better about the fact that he didn't look normal. That's how I always saw it. And like I mentioned in the message to my friend, they do compare Quasimodo briefly to a croissant, which probably wasn't the best thing to compare him to, but I always saw it more as joking and being lighthearted. So to me, when they mention Esmeralda's looks, I don't really see that as judging her by her looks. They're just mentioning how pretty she is, which, I mean, who doesn't do that when they're, when they see someone attractive? And when they're talking about the, other guys that look the same from every boring point of view, to me that's more trying to make Quasimodo feel better about the fact that he doesn't look like a normal person. So I don't really see them as judging people by their looks. That's very nitpicky and not really a legitimate complaint about them. They're unnecessary. And arguably, they're not exactly necessary for the story, but in that sense, a lot of Disney sidekicks aren't. I mean, if you're going to hate, I mean, yeah, I suppose the story could have gone on without them, since the plot doesn't actually need them, but, that's not really a legitimate reason to dislike them. Because if you're gonna hate them because they weren't entirely necessary to the plot, then you might as well hate a bunch of Disney sidekicks, you know? I mean, in that sense, Abu wasn't necessary for the plot of Aladdin, since pretty much all he did was, steal the lamp back from Jafar, which Aladdin could have done, and serve as Aladdin's transportation when he was being Prince Ali. You know? Pegasus could have been written out of Hercules, since pretty much all he does is serve as Phil and Hercules' transportation. And Pascal could have easily been written out of Tangled, since pretty much all he does is keep Rapunzel company. Heck, I mean, even Maximus could have been written out of that, since pretty much all he does is serve as transportation. Which they could have gotten another horse to do when they needed to go someplace, and didn't have to have Maximus following them around. So, I mean, and even some of the Disney love interests, like Nala, Bo Peep from Toy Story, and a lot of them could have easily been written out. So, I mean, if you're gonna hate the Gargoyles for being not entirely necessary, you might as well hate a lot of Disney characters and Disney love interests, too. So, to me, this is a very nitpicky, illegitimate complaint. Sorry, but it is. I mean, somebody is just looking for, hey, is just looking for a reason to dislike them when they say that they're unnecessary, because a lot of Disney characters, including sidekicks and love interests, are unnecessary, and I never hear any complaints about them. So, nice try, but pick a better reason. And finally, they joke about the fact that Paris is on fire. Really only Hugo does that. Again, stop lumping them all together. Only Hugo does that, and he does it briefly. The city of lovers is glowing this evening. True, that's because it's on fire. So, disliking characters because of one little incident that one of them did is, kind of a dumb reason to do it. No offense, but it is. I mean, I can definitely understand why this incident bothers you, but it's kind of a weak reason to dislike even Hugo, and especially the entire group of them. I mean, it's just basically what one little line. I mean, Beast is my favorite Disney prince, and I'm not fond of the line where he basically says to his servants, it doesn't matter now, just let them come, like he's not worried about the fact that they might get killed when there's a mob invading his castle, but that's not enough to make me hate his character. I just kind of chalk that up to bad writing, and that's pretty much what I do with Hugo's line here. So, pick a better reason than that to dislike them. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about them. About the complaints. Personally, I've always liked the Gargoyles, even if they aren't exactly necessary. My personal favorite of them is Laverne. She's actually probably my favorite character from The Hunchback, and one of my favorite Disney sidekicks. I just like grumpy old characters, which she definitely is. Anyway, the link to my Friends 2 videos in my first video will be in the description box below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye, and see you next time.